Hi again. I made a video, it's probably over a week ago now, about the first step in approaching pursuing realization. And the key point, the essential point there was resolving in your heart to pursue the truth, to let go of the idea of realization, to be sincere and humble and available. Available meaning open-minded, open-hearted, willing. Having that sincerity. So today we'll talk about the first step in terms of the deep dive into recognizing the nature of reality. And that is looking at the nature of the mind. So how do we do that? I know decades ago when I sort of tentatively, vaguely began this pursuit, this approach, I really had no idea of even to do that, and if I was going to do that, how to go about doing it. So you close your eyes and you sit patiently. And we all have thoughts, we all recognize that we have thoughts. So establish for yourself where you think the sort of zone of thought formation is. The zone of thought appearance. Where is it? Where do they arise? Where do they manifest? Maybe up around here somewhere, sort of zone. So the things you'll be looking at as you approach looking at the mind. Where do thoughts come from? They exist. I recognize that they exist. Can something come from nothing? There must be a point or a place or a location from where they arise. And in the same vein, surely there's a mechanism whereby they are produced. So you close your eyes and slow your breath and sit like a cat sitting at a mouse hole, kind of with bated breath, so to speak, poised for the arising of a thought. And as you start looking, as you start watching, as you bring your attention to the arising of a thought, chances are, as you get started, and for some length of time, thoughts will arise and you'll find yourself sort of immersed, so to speak, in the thought without even realizing it. And that's natural and it's fine. It's not a failure. It's all step by step. So you go, okay, I'm still a little bit too excited. I'm not really focused enough. Now, focused doesn't mean exerting. It doesn't mean straining or pushing or pulling to get the desired effect. It means just letting go and slowing down. So you slow your breath, make sure you're sitting comfortably. preferably with some kind of straight back. You don't need to be rigid, but keep a sort of a nice form. Straight and firm, without straining. Sit in a way that doesn't require that you exercise physical energy or conscious physical energy to maintain a position. You should be sitting relaxedly. So you've been immersed in the thought before you even realized it. And then you bring yourself back and you go, okay, I'll slow down again. Let me slow that down even more. Let me slow my breath even more. So you slow down the speed of the inhalation. You have bigger pauses between the inhalation and the exhalation, without pushing, without pulling, without straining. You're not holding your breath. It should be very, very relaxing and quietening. You get quieter and quieter and more silent and more still. And the more and more still and the more quiet you become, the closer you get to the beginning of the thought. You're trying to ascertain where the thought comes from, how it is produced, and perhaps primarily, what's my role in producing this thought? Do I produce the thought? If so, how do I produce thought? How do I produce these ideas or images or the narrative, blabbering on about this and that? How do I do that? You can say, well, maybe it's subconscious. Okay, well, look closely. There has to be something, you would assume, some mechanism whereby thoughts are produced. This is broadly, this is a specific example of, more broadly, resolving yourself to become more accustomed, more familiar with your inner environment. We're always taught that outer environment, all of our energy and attention goes on the outer. But the inner is an environment of its own. So start spending time examining your inner environment. Where do thoughts come from? And are they mine? Do they represent me? Are they what I actually am? Here's a for example, and this is quite a powerful concept. If you're sitting there void of thought, do you cease to exist? If you still exist when there is no thought, when there is no narration, no images, no movement, so to speak, if you still exist in that state, then you are not thought. You can say that thought is part of your environment, but that is not what you are. It can be an expression of a character. It can be it's an expression for sure. It's an energetic expression. Undoubtedly, everything's an energetic expression. Arising from where? And in what way does it arise? How does it arise? And when it disappears, where does it go to? So, don't try to think this through. This is not a philosophy. This is, probably most of you are familiar with this idea, the process. Direct looking. You have the faculties at your disposal, your native faculties. Your awareness is all that you need to recognize what is. Because what is isn't hidden. You just have to be simple enough. I said before, even beyond simple. It's simply registering what you can perceive and leaving it at that. Don't try and build upon it or create a philosophy around it, at least not in the beginning anyway. I mean, ideally not at all. Stick with what you can actually perceive. What can I actually perceive? If I can't perceive it, I don't know it to be true. If I can perceive it, or whatever it is I can perceive, I know, okay, that's a thing that actually happens. That is real, so to speak, as much as anything's real. Now I'm getting a little bit philosophical myself, but that's the core of it. What can I actually perceive? Okay, I can trust that because I've experienced it directly. Not as someone's opinion, not as a story, but directly in my own personal experience. I've experienced reality in this way, here and now. That's the first step. And it could be the most important. There are some other things that we can look at as well, but for the time being, I think that'll do. Any questions or comments? Pop them in the box below, or you can contact me on my website. And really, best of luck. I wish you all the best. It's not impossible. It's not hidden from anyone. It's just, it's, like I said, really simple. It's really, really plain, in plain sight, as annoying and cliched as that sounds. Anyway, best of luck. Thanks again. See ya.